Some moments in life, they divide everything into before and after. You know the ones I'm talking about, sweetheart. Your first kiss, the day you wore your first pair of heels, the moment you realized you were in love. For me, one of those moments happened on a summer afternoon in 1964. I was just 13 years old, and 4 young men from Liverpool were about to change everything I thought I knew about the world. It was one of those perfect summer afternoons, the kind that makes you feel like nothing bad could ever happen. The air was thick and sweet, carrying the scent of honeysuckle from Mrs. Henderson's garden next door, mixed with the smell of fresh laundry. My mother had hung the sheets out to dry that morning. The sun was beginning its slow descent, painting everything in that golden light that made even our ordinary little house look magical. I was 13 years old, barefoot, of course, because Mama said shoes were optional until September. Sitting on our front porch, on the wooden swing that Daddy had hung for me the summer before, in my hand, an ice-cold bottle of Coca-Cola. The real kind. Glass bottle with a metal cap, so cold that little drops of water ran down the sides and made my fingers wet. Next to me sat our old Philco radio. Brown plastic case with a crack on one corner that Mama always meant to fix, but never did. It hummed softly, that gentle electric crackle that meant something wonderful was about to happen. I was just sitting there doing nothing, which, if you think about it, was one of the great luxuries of being young. You could just exist. No chores calling you, no little brothers pestering you, no place you had to be. Just you, a porch swing, and a radio. My best friend Carol was supposed to come over later. We were planning to practice our dance moves. But for now, it was just me and the lazy summer afternoon. And then it happened. The DJ's voice faded out, and suddenly, there it was, a sound I'd never heard before. Guitars, bright and jangly, cutting through the summer air like nothing I'd ever experienced. Drums pounding with this energy that made your heart race, and voices harmonizing in a way that made every hair on your arms stand up. I can't tell you the exact words they sang, but I can tell you what it felt like. It felt like someone had just opened a door I didn't even know existed. Like someone switched on a light in my heart. I froze. The Coke bottle halfway to my lips. My whole body went still, because I didn't understand what I was hearing, but I knew, instantly, that it mattered. That rhythm, that energy, that absolute joy in their voices. It was like they were singing directly to me, to every girl sitting on a porch somewhere in America saying, "Hey, life doesn't have to be what everyone told you it would be. It can be bigger, brighter, more exciting." From inside the house, my mother's voice cut through. "Turn that noise down, young lady." And without even thinking, I reached over and turned it up, louder. My hand was shaking, not from fear of getting in trouble, but from something else. Something I didn't have a name for yet. Excitement, maybe. Or possibility. Or the realization that the world was suddenly so much bigger than our little town. So much more than what Mama and Daddy had planned for me. You have to understand, before that moment, music was something very different in my life. It was background, pleasant, safe, proper. On Sundays, my parents would put on Perry Como or Doris Day, and we'd listen while Mama cooked dinner and Daddy read the paper. Music was something you listened to politely, something you might dance to at a school social if a boy was brave enough to ask you. It was nice, but this was not nice. This was wild, joyful, dangerous. 4 young guys from England, from a city I'd never even heard of, were singing like they didn't care what anyone thought, like they were free. And somehow, sitting on that porch swing, I believed them. I believed that life could feel like that. It didn't matter if you were popular or invisible, rich or poor. The girl everyone noticed, or the one nobody saw. You heard that sound, and suddenly you were part of something bigger than yourself. A movement, a sisterhood. My generation finding its voice. And it was the most beautiful sound I had ever heard. The very next day, I rode my bike to Carol's house. Carol was my best friend. Lived 4 blocks over, a girl with curly brown hair and a gap-toothed smile, who could do the twist better than anyone. I rang her doorbell about 20 times until her mother threatened to spray me with the garden hose. "Did you hear it?" I asked her, breathless. "Hear what?" "The Beatles, on the radio yesterday." Her eyes went so wide I thought they might pop out. "Oh my gosh! Yes, I was screaming so loud my brother locked me in the bathroom." We had one mission that day. Get to Miller's record store downtown before every other girl in town bought them out. We pooled our money. $2.50. Everything we'd saved from babysitting Mrs. Cooper's twins. Our hands still smelled like baby powder, and we were wearing our best pedal pushers, because you never knew who you might run into downtown. We walked into that store, and it felt like entering a magical kingdom. The smell of vinyl, cardboard, ink, the rows and rows of album covers, each one like a window into another world. And there, behind the glass counter, we saw it, the album. 4 faces staring back at us, black and white, serious expressions, hair longer than any boys we'd ever seen in real life. They looked like they were from another planet. The future, maybe. Carol whispered, like we were in church. "They're so dreamy." And I couldn't disagree. Mr. Miller, the store owner, looked at us over his glasses with a little smile. He'd probably seen dozens of girls just like us that week. "You girls got money?" We slapped our crumpled bills and coins on the counter. Every last cent. He counted it slowly, nodded, and slid the record across to us. We held it like it was made of diamonds. We ran all the way back to my house. My parents were out shopping, which meant we had the living room to ourselves. The record player sat in the corner, a big wooden console that was Mama's pride and joy. "Your mother's going to kill us if we scratch that," Carol whispered. "She'll have to catch me first," I said, my hands trembling as I opened the album. The vinyl was black and perfect, catching the afternoon light like holding a piece of magic in your hands. I placed it on the turntable, lifted the tone arm carefully, like I was diffusing a bomb, and then I lowered the needle. There was a tiny crackle, a soft hiss, and then the music filled the room. Carol and I, we didn't speak. We just stood there in the middle of Mama's good living room, holding hands, smiling, like we'd just discovered fire. Because this was ours. Not our mother's music, not our teacher's music, not even our older sister's music. Ours! And it felt like freedom. From that day on, every important moment in my life had a Beatles song attached to it. The first boy I ever really liked. Slow dancing at Janet Morrison's birthday party in her basement. A soft ballad playing, his hand on my waist. My heart pounding so hard, I was sure everyone could hear it. My first heartbreak. Sitting alone in my room, rain on the window. That melancholy melody about yesterday. When I thought Bobby Jenkins would love me forever. He didn't, by the way. He married Sandra Wilson 2 years later, but that's another story. My high school graduation, driving around town with Carol and the girls, windows down, singing at the top of our lungs, not caring who heard us. When we couldn't find the right words to say what we felt, the music said it for us. And somehow, everyone understood those songs. They were like a secret language, a code that only we knew. You'd hear just a few notes, and suddenly you were back in that moment, feeling everything all over again. We didn't call it the British invasion back then. For us, it was just life, suddenly louder, brighter, more colorful. We started teasing our hair higher, wearing more eyeliner. Anything to look a little bit like those girls we saw in magazines. The girls standing outside concert halls in England, screaming and crying. We understood them. We wore mini-skirts when our mother said they were too short. We bought white go-go boots with our babysitting money. We dreamed about Liverpool, even though none of us could find it on a map. My daddy would shake his head, watching me get ready for school and say, "You're gonna give your mother a heart attack with that skirt." And I'd think to myself, maybe, just maybe that's the point. Because something was happening, something bigger than music. It was a feeling, a movement, a belief that we didn't have to be exactly what our parents expected, that we could be different, louder, more ourselves. And it all started with a song on the radio. Everything back then felt like the first time, the first concert, in our high school gym. Not the Beatles, of course, but a local band trying their best to sound like them. The speakers crackled, the guitars were out of tune, but we screamed anyway, because in that moment it felt like the Beatles were right there with us. The first time a boy held your hand, and your whole body felt electric. The first slow dance, where you had no idea where to put your arms, but somehow it felt perfect anyway. The first kiss that made the world stop spinning. Music was everywhere. The diner jukebox where we'd spend hours nursing one milkshake. Car radios crackling through rolled-down windows. Little transistor radios we'd hide under our pillows at night, listening to dedications, hoping, praying that someone would dedicate a song to us. We'd sit by the radio, waiting for our favorite song, ready to hit record on Dad's old reel-to-reel tape machine when we could get our hands on it, and half the time we'd start giggling right over the intro. But we kept those recordings anyway, because they were ours, imperfect and beautiful, just like we were. Years went by. Records became 8-tracks. 8-tracks became cassettes. Cassettes became CDs. And now everything lives somewhere in the cloud. Whatever that means, music is everywhere, anytime you want it. Thousands of songs right there in your pocket. But every once in a while when I'm doing the dishes, or folding laundry, or just sitting on my back porch, a song comes on, and the world slows down. I'm 13 again, barefoot on the porch swing, holding that cold Coke bottle, the summer air thick and sweet, the radio crackling to life, and that sound, that joyful, unstoppable sound, filling the air. I close my eyes, and I'm back there, heart wide open, dreaming about everything that lay ahead. We weren't just listening to music back then. We were listening to ourselves, to our generation finding its voice, to a kind of hope the world hadn't heard before. And maybe, just maybe, those songs really did change the world. At least, they changed mine. They changed all of us. We were the girls on those porch swings, in those living rooms, at those record stores, and for a few precious years, we believed that anything was possible. And you know what, sweetheart? We were right. Thank you for sitting with me today. Next time, I'll tell you about the summer I met your grandfather. Now that's a story. Until then, remember, hold on to your memories, sweetheart. They're more precious than gold.